You, my friend, need to sit down and do the work. Someone needs to tell you. More than likely, you're a wedding filmmaker who's also an entrepreneur by nature, who's also doing a million other things in life, and is probably as well constantly distracted with a million different things on top of those other things. And so, this talking head long form video that is more meant for you to listen to than watch is the first part in a four-part series I'll be doing weekly to encourage you to take a deeper dive into the side of your business that isn't as glamorous but is where the magic happens. The deep work of just sitting down and getting our wedding films done. And before we dive in, if you want a free ebook I've made on deep work as a wedding filmmaker, you can find the link in the description that will link you straight to it so you can download it as a guide this editing season. But putting that to the side, I feel like somewhere along the line, we got comfortable. You and I. I mean, there's a call to comfort and ease everywhere in our life. We live in an AI driven world now where any question can be typed into ChatGPT for an immediate and thorough answer. We don't have to think in the same way as before. And when we do have to think, our minds don't like doing it in the way that we're wired to do it well in because we're constantly bombarded with distraction. Social media, getting lunch, needing coffee or a pick me up, the emails, phone calls, picking up family from school or work, the gym, house things. Life is just constant distraction. And amidst this, again, we got comfortable. I'm sure you remember what it felt like to get into this business and be excited. You'd hurry home and post social media screen grabs or sneaks within 24 hours. You remember what it felt like to be excited to sit down and edit. But fast forward to now, and that editing process is a drag. I mean, ask yourself, when's the last time you actually sat down 3 to 4 hours straight, distraction free, no phone, no standing up or taking a break, just 3 to 4 hours of deep work? My guess is it's been a minute since you felt that. The excitement dropped off. The obligation of passion turned business slowly began to pull you back, I believe, into a similar dread that you might have felt at a different job previous to filmmaking. The whole reason you got out of it was to avoid it, but now you're confronted with it yet again. And editing can for sure do that to you. It's the only thing that we have to do that requires us to have 100% attention on the task at hand. We can't even listen to music or watch a movie while we edit. We can't be talking to someone. We have to be 100% locked in to actually make progress on our films. Typically and historically, this brought you into what myself and others call the flow state. It's a similar feeling or reason why rock climbers enjoy what they do. Their minds can't be anywhere but on the finger hold that they are on now and on the next one that they are going for. Mess up and you fall. Focus and you succeed. You get to the top. Except what we do is inherently different than rock climbers. Our risks are different and the stakes are different as well. We don't risk hurting ourselves if we lose focus. Heck, just because deep focus is required of editing doesn't mean that we do it. We have an out as wedding filmmakers. We are entrepreneurs. We can stand up anytime, go take a nap, work on something else until creativity strikes again. We can pull out the phone for a brief check when things get even a little bit challenging or you don't know which direction to take an edit. You see, deep work is required of us to finish films, yet we rarely let ourselves slip into a morning or afternoon dedicated completely to just one thing, your butt planted in your chair, editing. And I'm not here to blame you for that either. Like I've said before, there are a million reasons why it's hard to do that. And the reason I know it's hard to do all of that is because everything I'm listing off as reasons why it's hard to focus is because I've struggled with the same stuff before. I've been where you are, and I'm sure it'll come back around for me again in some way, sometime in the future. But we've gotten comfortable. No risk in us stepping away, or at least none that are as overt as falling off a cliff while we're rock climbing. What will happen, though, are four things, and I think they're pretty risky to let in, if you ask me. Number one, your guilt is going to weigh on you, and I think you know what I'm talking about. You step away to take a break, but you know deep down that you shouldn't. That weighs on you. You went through an entire workday while your family wasn't home, and now that they're home, you're hanging with them at night, and you feel guilty. And this compounds more and more as you promise yourself that tomorrow is going to be different. Tomorrow I'm going to focus, when in reality, it's just going to be another cog in the cycle of guilt setting and compounding, failing yourself yet again. Number two, stacking workload. A plus B equals C. Less work getting done plus time moving equals more work left to be done in the future. So this affects number one as well. More work makes you feel even worse about stepping away, but we do it anyway because we are too comfortable. Number 3, deadlines approaching. Most of us have delivery timelines in our contract. So as your guilt grows, as does your workload, the time left before you have to finish this film decreases. And what happens when we compress the amount of time that we have to do something into a smaller amount of time? It's not as good. We rush. We definitely don't give it our best. When we feel pressure to get something done within a few days or a week of a hard deadline, you can say goodbye to any creativity that would come with deep focus. It's all hands on deck just to get the work done out the door and just pray that the client's expectations are met as you rush to put together something that you kept pushing further and further out into the future. And number 4, you begin to think about outsourcing, growing guilt, stacking work, approaching deadlines, client expectations, all of this on your shoulders as you navigate your work week as an entrepreneur. No boss other than yourself steering your ship. With this burden to bear, one that maybe you've gotten used to as a wedding filmmaker, no wonder we spend thousands to outsource. It doesn't matter how much you've made on the wedding. An outsourced wedding is still going to cost you at least somewhere around $1,100 USD for a highlight film. And so taking a step back, looking at the bigger picture, we got comfortable. We got distracted. We keep shooting weddings, of course, because we aren't going to say no to money. But when it comes down to the work, focusing, sitting down and getting the film done and retaining all of our profits from the wedding and not outsourcing, it's just not happening for wedding filmmakers these days. It's almost impossible unless you choose to change something, unless you choose to change something. And that's why I'm making these videos. Look, I'm not here to entertain you, layer this video with B-roll, obviously, or just try to get views. I'm actually here trying to help you finally get your films done. Stop wasting time and get through your backlog. And so the next 4 weeks, we're going to be diving into these techniques, systems, mindset shifts, habits, and best practices for getting your films done. Consider this a stand-in podcast for yourself as you weekly begin to gear up to get through your films after a long wedding season. So the first thing that we're going to start shifting in you this week is that your backlog and sitting on your films week after week is not standard, is not okay. Drill that into your head. Just because everyone is doing it doesn't mean it's good. I mean, 40 to 50 years ago, everyone smoked and everyone thought it was fine because everyone was doing it. Well, look at the damage that did. So don't let backlog keep damaging you. You have to first start with the mindset shift that backlog is not okay, nor is it normal. Having guilt follow you around constantly isn't healthy, nor is it a part of the life you deserve. So you need to make a real change in your life. And it starts with accepting as truth that your backlog is not a part of your life anymore. It's not okay, and you have to change something in order to get rid of it. You see, if you haven't figured out by now, mental peace is the most valuable thing you can possibly have in this life. And having 5 or more films just sitting there on hard drives needing to be edited isn't ever going to stop looming over you until you take action and get rid of that backlog to give you your mental peace back. Of course, many of you are familiar with my strategy known as the Backlog Buster for getting through your backlog. There's a discount code in the description if you're interested. It's going to break down myths you're telling yourself about wedding film editing, laying foundational tenets for getting through your backlog, as well as give you systems, tips, and tricks for actually getting through your films in just days, not weeks or months. Plus, you're going to get 20 pre-built timelines when you get the Backlog Buster to help you cut out the long process of choosing, cutting up, and laying your music foundation in your films. Rather, it's all done for you in the timeline templates. Those come with the Backlog Buster, or you can get them on their own. But at the end of the day, there is no secret shortcut to getting your work done. These things are just tools to help you get there if you're serious about finally eliminating your backlog. The shortcut is going to actually be you sitting down to do the deep work. Just doing the work without distraction is going to actually end up inversely saving you so much time than if you were just to kind of work all day on this and that and whatever your mind shifts focus to, which this is a great spot to talk about deep work. What is deep work? Let's start by differentiating between deep work and shallow work. Both are necessary. You'll have shallow work tasks like invoicing, responding to emails, contracts, gear prep, meetings, things that don't require a ton of cognitive demand, that don't require a ton of focus for an extended period of time. You can kind of tunnel in for a few minutes, do the thing, and move on to the next. Typically, these are things that can be done while multitasking, and while necessary for our businesses, they aren't going to leave us feeling productive at the end of the day. We typically are slipping them in when we should be focusing, and they're eating up so much more of our time than we ever really give them credit for. And so these shallow work tasks, they don't really leave you feeling productive at the end of the day because there are fallback busy work tasks that we do because, well, it's easier to respond to an email or see if that client paid an invoice than to make ourselves suffer through a hard part of figuring out how to edit this film together. And so deep work is anything that requires full mental presence. And the only two ways you can know if something is deep work is firstly, if it's hard, and secondly, if it must be done effectively via zero distraction. So it has to be hard and you can't have any distraction. So, in order to achieve deep work, you have to stay focused on one thing, which is editing your wedding film for longer than you typically allow yourself, and no context shifting, which is described as anything that makes your brain shift focus from one task to another. And just a quick note, you can still be in your editor, technically editing, and still distract yourself and still context shift. You might stop and play with the sound effect for 10 minutes in the beginning of a film instead of making progress on getting all the clips in. Maybe you're curious if the color grade will look good on this particular clip. We can't context shift from our editing to our phones, our house chores. We can't shift focus from editing our film to color correcting one clip because it's more fun than just pushing forward on the film. Put simply, your goal with your films should be to get all the audio from the wedding day in, lined up with all the clips, flowing well with music before any sound or color correction. Those two things are rewards for your hard work after you get done with all the deep focus. So lay your music, lay your ceremony or speech audio, lay clips on top of that. And it requires deep work. It's not easy always, and that's why we don't stick with it. As the writer of Deep Work, a book I highly recommend, puts it, we're cognitive slobs. We're lazy mentally, and we bounce from the hard stuff so fast because of the day and age we live in, where comfort and ease is expected and hoped for as we go through our workday. We have to remember that deep work is just as necessary as the shallow work. And moreover, and here's the thing, this is kind of what I've been building up to in this whole video. This deep work is actually what will move the needle for your business. You see, not all work is created equal. I think a lot of times we look at work as kind of this faucet that is either on and we're working, and no matter what we do, it's deemed productive because we're sitting at our desk in our office, or the faucet is off and we're not at work. The deep work is what will move the needle for us in our businesses. And why is that? Because I truly believe sitting down and just doing the work, like I've said already, is going to save you an unbelievable amount of time compared to just kind of stringing it out, stopping when it gets hard over days or weeks to come. Checking your phone, taking breaks to get creative energy, watching YouTube videos. It's an inverse way of thinking about it, actually. Deep work is actually less work because when we sit down and don't shift focus for 2 to 4 hours at a time, it's mind boggling how much we can get done. The human mind is a force, a creative force that is a problem solver by nature. And the next time you hit a roadblock in your edit when trying to do deep work, try not context shifting, try not escaping from the problem. Let your brain be a brain and do its thing. You'll make so much more progress this way, I guarantee you. So, this moves the needle for your business because you're getting more effective and productive, tangible work done faster, which frees up time for you, relieves you of mental guilt, and saves you money from having to spend thousands on outsourcing. You keep creative control. You finish your workday with pride, knowing that you finished half a wedding film that day. And now you can go enjoy your night and use that money that you would have spent on outsourcing for something else in your business that will push you and your success forward. But as this video starts to come to a close, I want to remind you of something. You are the master of your time. You are the master of the ship that you're steering through life. You decide if backlog is going to rule you for another year. But I encourage you to do the deep work. Just focus on the mindset shift this week. Maybe grab the book Deep Work. Maybe grab the Backlog Buster or timeline templates using the link below to really compress your timeline on how long you're actually spending editing these films. Whatever it is, I encourage you to take action. Stop accepting backlog as part of just your standard life as a wedding filmmaker. Let yourself feel the discomfort of not looking at your phone and tell yourself, hey, I got this. I'm in control and can get this work done. Guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope this lights at least some sort of fire in you to get after it with your businesses and move the needle closer toward who you want to be in this life and what you want to accomplish with your business, creative work, and finances. I'm Stanton Giles, and I'll see you next week for part 2 of this series of doing the work as a wedding filmmaker.